No one wants to work anymore. A hot take, I think no one ever wanted to work. I don't think that's changed. I think people have never wanted to work. I think manual labor, people have only done it because they'll only do whatever pays enough and is within their ability. I don't think that's ever changed. I think what has changed is like people thinking that they're above or below certain things because they just got told that. That's all. I think media really like portrayed people, normal people, as office workers, and media does not portray a dad that works in construction anymore as like a normal job or anything. Or they'll portray that guy and then he'll come home and he'll be like, my job's so hard and I don't want to do this anymore. And then like the fun, happy part of the story is him not having that job anymore. And they're like, Dad, we let you retire. And he's like, yay, I don't have to work. You know what I mean? I think media really like adjusted that whole idea of like what's normal, right? We have moved to a services economy. Exactly. We're not like the kings of the factories anymore. We're not. The factory worker in a show is always a drunk loser too. Yeah, right? Like you would notice this commonality. They would always portray someone like that. Look at The Simpsons. What does the dad do? How does he act? Right? And then there are like 1,000 copy pastas of him. I feel like that's kind of what I remember always seeing. And there weren't enough like people in these like shitty looking jobs. He was a nuclear engineer. Yeah, but okay. The thing is, the way they portrayed it was just him like turning some knobs and not really being very smart. You know what I mean? So, and the thing is, like, they would take this like cool job and they'd be like, oh, he's the flips some switches, presses some buttons joke, right? He wasn't like the main engineer building stuff. He was just the guy like operating and just pressing some buttons, right? And then he would come home and he'd be like, yeah, I pressed buttons today. So he essentially still had this job that was very like simple, just doing a thing over and over in a factory, you know? It was still kind of that. Homer's not very smart. Yeah, I think we know. I know. Yeah, canonically, he just walked in the day the plant opened and got a job. He was untrained, had no idea what he's doing. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that shit was funny. It was funny as hell. But even then, like, you know, they'll put people in these, like, in media, they'll put people in these, like, random ass jobs where they just, like, press buttons or they just sit at a factory and close the same box over and over, like, fold a box for a product all day. Then they come home and they're, like, drunk all the time and slobbering and stuff. And I'm like, why can't we portray these people as like nice, normal people, like a good dad? You know? Yeah, he's simple. Yeah, his job is simple, but why do we have to also have him be drunk in every show? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I just felt like they always gave them this really like not pretty portrayal, you know? Yeah, obviously only people with good jobs are good people. Right, it like gave that impression. I never liked that because a lot of people in my family that had like these really simple but awful jobs like that, they were really nice people. And they did mind-numbing work, so they were looking for something creative to do with their brains when they got home. They'd be physically tired, but they'd come home and like want to just do something. They'd want to talk about something interesting. They loved reading, you know? So I knew a lot of people growing up that really like, they were wonderful and they had, yeah, boring jobs, right? And I was always like, I would get upset at the portrayals a little bit because I was like, I know people that do these jobs that don't act like this. You know? Counterpoint, Bob's Burgers. He's passionate about his job and is a good dad. Yes, but he literally owns a restaurant. Yes, it's a mom and pop shop, but he owns it, right? He's not working in a factory, like pressing chopped meat into a disc over and over. I do love Bob's Burgers, though. I gotta say, out of all of the, those types of shows, Bob's Burgers is my favorite. Bob's Burgers did a way better job of portraying a realistically healthy family than so much other media. Yeah, right? It's scary how, like, real it felt. Obviously, like, it's a cartoon, obviously, you know, whatever, but the way the characters interacted, they really did a good job with that.
Famous and prolific fantasy author
Oh my god, this is so long.
What kind of job people who want to get into writing should get before they become successful.
Yeah.
And his go-to answer is bricklaying. He goes into it saying basically what you're saying right now. Do a job that's physically demanding but leaves you with creative and intellectual energy that you can still spend when you get home. Also, you have time to think about your stories while you're at work.
That's true. That's true. But also Brandon Sanderson is Brandon Sanderson. I do like his little like writing symposiums that he does if you're learning to write. But I hate when he like writes women. So you ever read his writing? I do actually like his books, but then sometimes the way he writes certain characters, I'm like, what is happening here? Overall I like Brandon Sanderson though. Like if I take how I feel about him and put it like, are we positive or negative? I'd say we're positive, but man, the way he writes women sometimes, it's like a meme in the community at this point. Yeah, a lot of people saying they like Bob's Burgers. King of the Hill. Yeah, I always loved King of the Hill, though I would say the way... No, actually, they did have kind of a realistic portrayal of the way people act. That show was a little extra quirked up. But yeah, I think King of the Hill and Bob's Burgers were, like, the better ones. Yeah, and they're coming back. I haven't seen the reboot. Is it already out, or is it not out yet? How's that going? Not yet. August. Okay. All right. Yeah, I always loved that show. That was like the dedicated if you fall asleep on the couch and then you wake back up at 3 a.m., King of the Hill would be on. King of the Hill would always be on. And that was the show, right? Like it was just there when nothing else was there. And I think that was my favorite thing about it, was like that awful time slot that it had, because I would work really late. And I would want to just watch something for a short bit before sleeping. I'd like eat and want to watch something. And thankfully, King of the Hill was there for me if I was like coming home and it was like 3 a.m. One of the jobs I did on the weekends, I would always come home at 3 or 4 straight up. And it was on. It was on TV, King of the Hill. You know, so I watched so much of it, man. Because also, like, I felt like at those hours, some of the shit that was on like Adult Swim was just weird. Like, it was just, like, not shit that I liked watching. Like, I appreciated it, but I didn't really want to watch it. So, you know. What ungodly hours did you work? I've said it before, I've been on a non-stop grind set since I was, like, 12, okay?